Transport Chief Mabel Chan outlines the government's plans for regulating online ride-hailing. Financial Secretary Paul Chan says Hong Kong's IPOs topped global ranking in the first half year. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan said the government aims to present a regulatory framework for ride-hailing platforms to the Legislative Council within this month. As ride-hailing becomes more popular in the city, the government is working on regulating the digital platforms comprehensively. Speaking on a radio program, Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan said a regulatory framework could be presented to the Legislative Council by the end of this month. She said the government hopes to include drivers, vehicles, and the platforms within its framework in a bid to ensure travel safety. Chan also added that authorities will review regulatory measures adopted by the mainland and abroad. Sources said the framework proposed that drivers on such platforms must take a written exam similar to that taken by taxi drivers. Their vehicles must also be inspected and drivers must purchase third-party insurance. In addition, a new designated license scheme will be implemented, but the quota has yet to be determined. Ride-hailing platform Uber, which has been operating in Hong Kong for more than a decade, agreed that the government can regulate the sector, but suggested that there shouldn't be a limit on the licenses. The company's local representative said such restrictions could impact passengers' travel experience, increasing prices and extending waiting time for rides. Uber suggested the government take note of regulatory measures adopted by the mainland, Singapore, and Australia, and highlighted their flexibility with relevant measures. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said Hong Kong completed 42 initial public offerings in the first half of the year, raising more than 107 billion Hong Kong dollars and ranking first in the world. Paul Chan said in his blog that funds raised by IPOs in the first half of the year was about 22% more than the whole of last year. So far this year, about 200 cases have been received for IPOs in Hong Kong, including companies from the Middle East and Southeast Asia. He said that the market is generally optimistic about Hong Kong stocks and the performance of the market for new stocks in the second half of the year. Paul Chan also said that he will visit Seoul in South Korea, which has recently shown increased interest in investing in Hong Kong. Former Chief Executive Nancha Min said the Hong Kong government's latest announcement on southbound travel scheme is an improvement from earlier proposals. Leung's comment came after authorities said the scheme would be launched in November. Mo Sinai reports.
Application for the southbound travel scheme will start in November. In the initial phase, a daily quota of 100 vehicles will be allowed in the urban areas. Speaking on the TVB program, Nancha Min said the quota is a good trial and authorities can review it after November.
The significance of allowing Guangdong single license plate vehicles to enter Hong Kong is not just a question of bringing directly buying power into Hong Kong. That's only a small part. The more significant part is that Hong Kong and the rest of the Greater Bay Area should be better integrated. There should be freer flow of people, goods, vehicles, capital, and data. And that's very much the essence of the GBA planning.
Meanwhile, China's first domestically built aircraft carrier Shandong arrived in the city on Thursday for a 5-day visit. Leung said it is an opportunity for national education.
This aircraft carrier represents a milestone in the development of the country's national defense. Here in Hong Kong, short on the hill of the 5th anniversary of the launch of our national security law. A very useful and a somewhat high-profile reminder to the Hong Kong people of the importance of national security and national defense, particularly in this fast-changing world.
Leung added he will expect more frequent military exchanges between the SAR and the mainland in the future. Mo Sinai, TVB News.
Public visits to the Shandong aircraft carrier and its accompanying warships continued for a second day today in Hong Kong. Large crowds of visitors were already seen at the Ngangshan Naval Base at around 8 a.m. They were waiting for their tour on board the Zhangjiang guided missile destroyer and Yunsheng guided missile frigate. Equipped with a vast array of advanced armaments, the Zhangjiang is capable of launching surface-to-air as well as anti-ship missiles via this vertical launching system. Among the most captivating weapons installed on the vessel are a single 130mm naval gun and an 11-barrel 30mm Gatling gun, capable of engaging high-precision targets on the sea surface. Scores of visitors also gathered around the Z-9 utility helicopter parked on the flight deck. On the Yunsheng, visitors can also spot the same naval gun variants and missile launching system. But the frigate is equipped with 2 additional anti-submarine missile systems capable of hitting submarines within a range of several dozen kilometers. Today's heat did not deter Navy officers from providing a detailed explanation of the weapon systems to visitors on board, with the Navy personnel themselves also becoming an attraction. This visitor said it was his first time seeing a torpedo launching system in real life and was surprised by the tight space within the interior of the vessel. While this boy was awed by the size of the naval guns. Cheng Shurong, a Master Chief Petty Officer of the Yunsheng frigate, noted how a visitor asked for the opportunity to visit other warships in the PLA Navy. He added that he hopes more young people will be impressed by the nation's military might. Meanwhile, the public can try an assortment of activities at these venues located by the harbor, such as trying on fire-resistant suits and even taking aim with sniper rifles. Results from the International Baccalaureate Diploma, or IB, exams were released, and at least 30 top scores were from Hong Kong. Among the top scores, 3 students from Diocesan Boys School achieved a perfect score of 45 points. 2 of the top scorers chose to stay in Hong Kong to study medicine, and another will go to Oxford University in the UK to study mathematics and computer science. Schools from the English Schools Foundation, or ESF, produced 15 top scores this year. Victoria Shanghai School had 5 top scores. Polong Poling College produced a top score for the first time. The college and the Canadian International School of Hong Kong had 2 top scores each. The 17th BRICS Summit is held on Sunday and Monday in Brazil. Leaders of the growing BRICS group of developing nations are presenting the bloc as a defender of multilateralism in an increasingly divided world. Chinese Premier Li Qiang met with Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva after arriving in Rio de Janeiro on Saturday. Li said China is willing to work with Brazil to leverage each other's complementary advantages and expand cooperation in areas such as the digital economy, green economy, science and technology innovation, and aerospace. Lula said Brazil is ready to deepen multilateral communication and coordination with China, upholding multilateralism and free trade. For the joint statement of the summit, the BRICS is expected to continue their thinly veiled criticism of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policy. Flash floods in Texas have killed at least 51 people. Many were at a girls' Christian summer camp that was taking place on the Guadalupe riverbank over the 4th of July holiday. David Garrett reports.
The search goes on for the missing children of Camp Mystic. Helicopters in the air, trucks on the ground near a shattered riverbank. The whereabouts of around 30 of the girls that attended the camp are unknown. Others, one as young as 8, are known to be dead. Debris strewn all around, making rescue efforts even more difficult. On foot patrol, trees smashed and uprooted, carried along in an 8-metre torrent that swept through with 750 kids at the camp. It has been likened to a tsunami. The remnants of a canoe halfway up a hill. A Christian summer camp that gathered to celebrate the July 4th holiday, devastated by Mother Nature. 3 months of rain fell in a few hours. The Guadalupe River burst its banks and floodwaters ripped through these buildings. At 1:30 a.m., many of the youngsters were asleep. The location is popular on American Independence Day. This makes it harder for search teams to know how many are missing. The current tore through at frightening speed.
We will be relentless in going after and ensuring that we locate every single person who's been a victim of this flooding event. We're not going to stop today or tomorrow. We will stop when the job is completed.
The governor has signed a disaster declaration and called in federal assistance. President Trump says he is heartbroken and is offering support in rescue and recovery efforts. Across Kerr County, there is further extensive damage. Questions as to why a better warning system was not in place. Officials insist extreme rain is hard to predict.
That water and rain fell almost double of what was anticipated, both in the North and South Fork, and converged into one place, and it rose that quick.
Dozens of children are still missing, with most of them said to be under 12 years old. David Garrett, TVB News.
And still ahead, survey reveals the sufferings of subdivided flat residents under the summer heat. Injured children in Gaza face an uphill battle to stay alive. Welcome back. The very hot weather warning is in force. The observatory recorded about 35 degrees Celsius across many districts this afternoon. A subdivided household said they rely on just 2 fans while trying to keep cool at home. And a survey by the Society for Community Organization revealed more details on the plight of these residents sweltering under the summer heat. Most Tonight reports.
34.6 degrees Celsius around noon. A fan and no air conditioning. This 80 square meter subdivided unit in Sham Shui Po is the home of Fawn and her husband. The husband said he used 8 to 10 tissues a day to wipe his sweat, while the wife mentioned how cockroaches would appear in the unit under the scorching heat. Despite having an air conditioner, the couple is reluctant to use it owing to costly electricity bills, sometimes $500 a month. But Fawn's case is just the tip of the iceberg. Between May and July, the Society for Community Organization, or SOGO, surveyed residents from 300 subdivided units deemed substandard on living conditions during scorching weather. 80.3% of interviewees said their utility bills were pricey and they were weighed down by economic burdens. 20% said they were unclear about utility charges because landlords or real estate companies failed to show them bills. Meanwhile, 20.5% of tenants said landlords had overcharged utility payments. Those who suspect or are unsure if their bills are being overcharged accounted for 54.2%. The NGO said the median monthly electricity bill was $350, whereas the water bill was $100.
According to the law, actually the landlord or the principal tenant, they should show the bill. And then to calculate how much they need to pay.
The NGO urges the government to step up enforcement action against landlords who overcharge electricity and water bills. Memos 9, TVB News.
Gaza's health ministry estimates that 33,000 children have been injured during the war, including 5,000 requiring long-term rehabilitation and critical care. Since the Israeli blockade on Gaza began in March, 317 patients, including 216 children, have left the territory for medical treatment alongside nearly 500 of their companions. 2,500 children are awaiting medical evacuation. Nasvi Karim has more.
3-year-old Amr al-Hams has shrapnel in his brain from an Israeli strike on his family tent. His pregnant mother was killed along with a brother, sister and a grandfather in the north of Gaza. His father and aunt rushed him to an intensive care unit in the Indonesia hospital. When Israeli forces encircled the hospital and issued evacuation orders, patients were transferred to Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. But the facility was overwhelmed with patients and they were asked to take him south to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. With a tube in his throat, they undertook the bumpy 25-kilometer journey in a motorized rickshaw. Halfway through, they were picked up by an ambulance. His aunt, Noor al-Shams, maintains a vigil by his bedside. Amr is unable to speak or move. Doctors lack the supplies to treat his brain damage or help in his rehabilitation amid a collapsed medical system. Here is Amr and his siblings before the attack. We are waiting for him to travel for treatment, said his aunt. Day by day, the complications are increasing. Like many Palestinians living in squalor in tents across Gaza, the peace deal is their only hope. Palestinian group Hamas said it has reacted positively to a latest United States ceasefire proposal. Nabila Shinna, displaced from Sheikh Ridwan in Gaza City, said from a camp in Dar el-Bala they want an end to waking up every morning to the sound of warplanes. Jamalat Wadi, who was displaced from North Gaza, said they've had enough of starvation, the jets, drones and shelling. Also wanting a ceasefire are thousands of Israelis, particularly relatives of some 50 hostages still being held in Gaza. They held their weekly rally in Tel Aviv demanding an end to the war and the release of all hostages. Meanwhile, back in Khan Yunus, Amr's oxygen levels keep fluctuating. So long as he is in Gaza, there is no recovery for him, says Noor. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Guangzhou's Nancha Min School is a newly designated Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education Examination Center on the mainland. This year, many of its students, including youngsters from Hong Kong, have received offers of admissions from local and overseas universities. Rui Sheng reports.
DSE graduate Toby Jern received his early education in Hong Kong and the UK before joining Minsin in Form 4. This year, as one of the school's first DSE candidates, he secured an early offer for the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery program at the University of Hong Kong through the principal's nomination scheme. He credits the school for providing opportunities to explore his strengths and interests. These hands-on experiences, he says, bridge textbook knowledge with real-world application, sparking critical thinking. Established in 2022, the school enrolls students from Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and overseas Chinese communities, as well as foreign nationals, with Hong Kong students making up 1/3 of the population. Blending Hong Kong and mainland curricula, its mission is to nurture students with roots in Hong Kong, hearts for China, and a global outlook. The school's founding chairman, Lun Chun-ying, emphasized the goal of helping Hong Kong's youth integrate into the Greater Bay Area. Leung, who is also a vice chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, points out that the majority of students in Hong Kong fear that they will face cultural barriers if they choose to work or live on the mainland when they graduate from the school. Students at Nancha Min, however, will be able to adapt seamlessly to the way of life on the mainland while retaining their Hong Kong roots. The school also emphasizes global exposure to strengthen students' academic and career prospects. Dr. Lena Poon, head of Nancha Min School, stressed the importance of a broad perspective for its students. She says initiatives like the Minsin Lecture Series, where experts share insights, help elevate the students' vision, knowledge, and character. The next cohort of DSE graduates will increase to 126 students. Additionally, the school will be launching a kindergarten section in the new school year, offering more comprehensive educational services for Hong Kong families in Nancha. Rachel Ng, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.